In this video, I'll be reviewing the concept of an image trace. To get started, you'll see that I have a document already open, and the document I'm working with today is 10 by 10. I'm going to come up to File, and I'm going to go to Place. Okay, File, Place, to navigate over to an image that I would like to perform an image trace on. And I'm going to use this picture of the moon. Now, when you place an image, you're going to see that it doesn't immediately open, but it follows your cursor. And all I need to do is click on my artboard to drop my image. You'll see I'm now on my black arrow, and I will just move that over so it's a little bit more centered in my artboard. Okay, the next thing I want you to notice again is that because I've placed this image, that the image has this blue X over it. And again, that just indicates that it's been placed, that there's not really a lot that I can do to this image, but it's here in this current format. Now I want to perform an image trace on it. And the reason I want to do an image trace is because this picture is, of course, a JPEG. It's made up of pixels, and I need this image, in this case, to be larger. And so what I can do is I can use this tool called Image Trace. And you should, if you're working in the same workspace as I am, you should immediately see this available to you on your options bar. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Image Trace. And that's going to go ahead and perform a default function, which is always black and white. And you're going to see in this instance, it looks pretty good. I do just want to say though, if you don't have that options bar available for any reason, you'll see that you can find it if you go to Object and Image Trace, and then you would just choose this option for Make. Okay. All right, now again, it's performed a preliminary image trace for me, but this isn't actually what I want this to look like. And so like everything else in Illustrator, if I want to perform, edits and changes and just customize this, I need to grab a panel. And so I'm going to go up to Window and look for Image Trace. Okay, and I have a panel here to play with now. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to note again is that it's using a preset, and you'll see again, just as I stated earlier, it's using a default, which is black and white. And if I open that up or simply hover over these buttons, you're going to see a variety of other presets that I can play with. So in this case, maybe I want something really, really simplistic. I could use something like 3 colors. And every time you run through any of these presets, you're going to get these windows saying, progress, clustering, refinement, smoothing, what have you. And so now you'll see what my result is with 3 colors. Okay. You're going to see again the preset that I'm using. You're going to see the view, which is my tracing result. And you can run through that to see different variations. For instance, I can go back to my source image and then look at my tracing result just to see if I'm happy. You'll see you have color modes, okay, which I think are self-explanatory at this point. Palette just kind of indicates how many colors you're using. And in this case, of course, it's limited because I'm only using 3 colors. Okay, again, 3 colors, 3 colors. And then what's interesting here is you're going to see the number of paths and anchors that this tracing required. So, just for a little perspective, after you traced all of those icons, you have a sense of how much work that was. And hopefully you can see how much work Image Trace is doing for you here. Okay. I'm going to move up to something like 16 colors, and you'll see that, of course, I'm going to get something with more detail because it's going to use more color to render all of the different shapes and textures that were present in the source image. Okay, and so yep, with 16 colors, now I've got some of this great detail. You can also see a little bit of texture emerging here in the background. Again, 16 colors, 16 colors. I can go back and forth between my source image and my tracing results to see that that looks pretty good, okay? And just again, to kind of highlight how much work this just did for me, again, now it's using 34,000 anchors and over 3,000 paths, okay? Now, I do want to point out that 3 color, 6 color, 16 color are really the handiest, in my opinion, because these allow you to recolor your artwork really, really quickly. Again, if I'm using 3 colors, I can replace those colors really easily. 6 is a little bit more work. 16 colors is still maybe a lot more work, but these are all accomplishable. But you do have some other options here. You have things like high fidelity photo. And what this is going to do, obviously it's going to take the longest because it's going to be the highest quality preset available to me. It's going to try to render this in the most exact format possible. So think photographic, okay? If I was using a photograph, it would try to make this look as much like a photograph as possible. And again, if I go between my tracing results and my source image, okay, there's not a lot of difference. Some of the texture's not present. You can see here like that sort of graininess. And if I go back to my tracing result, that's not present. But again, if I needed a photograph that maybe I took at a lower resolution and that I needed to blow up for the purposes of putting on something like a billboard. Again, a billboard's probably like, I don't know, let's say 50 feet by 35 feet. I'm going to need that to be blown up. And again, if you're driving by an image like this on the highway, you're not going to notice that it's not 100% photographic quality. Okay. And again, high fidelity photo, you'll see again the difference in the paths and the anchors here. So again, I want you guys to look and just really play with image trace and understand that this is really pretty simplistic. If you focus on this area, it's much like an app on your phone. Okay, so again, just for a little perspective, I fully could see you guys playing with something like this as a filter in Instagram. Now, you can open up Advanced, and you're going to see a great deal more information here in terms of, making the paths tighter and reducing noise and thinking about the way all of these paths are sort of sitting next to each other. Are they sitting, are they abutting or are they overlapping? And these are all things that you can play with. I'm not going to go into them today. Again, this is just for the purposes of something that you might use for your logo for your final project. Fully something that you guys can build on very easily if you enjoy playing with image trace and want to continue to progress with it. What I'm going to do as I end this video is I am going to go ahead and put this on 6 colors. I'll be back in a moment to talk about what to do once you've determined what your preset is going to be and what kind of work you can do with it afterwards.